This is the 1978 Mercury Grand Marquis. Got it in downtown Midland. I was using it to get some things from the storage unit, and I've been trying to continue to get more things from the storage unit brought down here to the building. But several weeks ago I had a lot of trouble with the Grand Marquis. Organist 1982 and I went to Odessa, and we pulled up to a I guess it dates back to maybe about a month ago. We went to the Stanton Trade Days, and as we were coming home we stopped by a thrift store, and as I was pulling in to the thrift store parking lot, the engine shut down, and I thought, well, I don't know what's causing that, so we let it cool for a while, and when we came out we were able to get it restarted. And then it was just running kind of rough when you pull up to a stop sign or stoplight. And we thought, well, maybe there was a vapor lock problem, so we put, like you might have seen in another video, put the fuel pressure gauge on it, and the fuel pressure looked good after we put a new fuel filter on it. Then at first it looked like it might have been a little low, but we put a new fuel filter on and it seemed to be good. And then we tested manifold vacuum and it was good as well. No vacuum leaks I could see. And then we reset the timing and it seemed like it was doing better, so we took it to Odessa. Then we were coming back in about 105-degree heat. The engine just started sputtering, and so I pulled off to the side of the road and I put on a backup ignition module. I had replaced this with an aftermarket module, but I had the original one in the trunk, so I put the original one on and the engine started back up. But then we came up to intersection with a 70-mile-per-hour freeway from a side road, and the car quit running. And that's always been one of my nightmares, is pulling up like to a freeway and having a bunch of cars backing up behind you. I guess it wasn't truly a freeway because there was a stop sign with it, but it was a 70-mile-per-hour highway. And traffic was backing up at the stop sign, and I was just about in a panic. So Organist 1982 got up in the driver's seat, and I put the car in neutral, and I pushed it, and we were able to turn it off to the shoulder of the highway, so at least we weren't blocking the traffic. And just then, very, very luckily, just through God's grace, we were able to get it started and get it running long enough to get it across the highway to at least we were then back onto the road home. But as we were driving home, the engine quit running altogether, and we just coasted to the side of the road, and it would not restart at all. And I was just at about my wit's end by then. I was thinking, well, what in the world could the problem be? But you'll notice here, what I eventually ended up doing to provide the solution was to put on a new Duraspark ignition coil. And probably about a year ago, I went through this and did what I thought was an improvement to the ignition system. Put on a new starter, and then I thought, well, I'll go ahead and put some new high-performance parts on the ignition system. And we put this coil on here. Now, you might recognize what kind of coil this is. I'm not going to name it, but it's a well-known aftermarket coil brand. But I did some research on this thing and found there have been lots of complaints of the coil quitting and people being stranded because of coil failure. And that's exactly what ended up happening. What I was able to do, luckily I had a new replacement Duraspark coil in the trunk, and so I just cut the wires with a pocket knife from the high performance coil, then twisted them onto, I had a horseshoe connector that was falling apart in there, but I was able to stick it on there and make it run long enough to get home. And I haven't had any trouble with it since, so knock on wood. So what I ended up doing for a more permanent fix, I borrowed a connector from the 1978 Ford pickup truck, because the one that was originally on this had fallen apart, and that's kind of what prompted me to go with the new ignition coil. And we spliced on some new wiring to the old connector, and it's run good ever since. But what I would recommend is it's probably best to just go with an original replacement coil, because those particular aftermarket coils I've heard several bad things about on the World Wide Web, and this is not a high performance engine by any stretch. I mean, it's just as long as the engine runs, that's good enough for me. We don't need high speed operation, but there's probably not any performance gain from such a coil on just a regular stock engine, or there might not be. But as far as just reliability, it's best to go with what the manufacturer originally designated for it. So now the Grand Marquis has been performing pretty well, and with that new ignition coil on it. I still have and I had put a new distributor on it too, so it'd have a new pickup coil on it. But I still have the aftermarket. I went ahead and put the original Duraspark box back on because I thought it was probably better made than the aftermarket replacement, but I've still got that in case this ever develops a problem. So there's the coil replacement on here, and I'm going to try to get the old pickup truck going. I'm going to try and see if I can find another one of these horseshoe connectors so I can get that coil going again for the pickup.